Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to another edition of Saturday Sports on NCBNTT television. We are on every Saturday evening at 8 p.m. where we talk sports. And it's always a pleasure to have you in our company. Today we're going to be talking athletics, but masters athletics. And I have with me the Vice President of the Trinidad and Tobago Masters Athletics Association, Gwendolyn Smith. Gwen, it's a pleasure to have you here. It's been quite a while, eh?
Yes.
You know, I always had you all regular
Yeah.
on the other side, and we always talking about different things. Um, let's talk a bit for the viewers who looking on. Tell us about Gwendolyn Smith.
Good morning, good afternoon to the viewers. Gwendolyn Smith is probably a household name right now. Um, in terms of cricket and athletics at this time. I have been involved in sports from the age of 9. I started playing wind ball cricket, transferred into hardball cricket. Then after an injury in hardball cricket, I ended up going on to track and field again. And I stayed in track and field until now. So I'm just doing what I do best and doing what I love.
I know that during your career playing cricket, you had an injury that kept you out
Yeah.
for about two years.
Yeah.
I remember your name was always prominent on the Trinidad and Tobago national team. And during that course, that absence rather, that is where you went into other activities.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I was playing a Sunday league game, and I was struck in my face with a ball. It was a new bowler, and she was fast, but she was still learning. She had no control, and the ball came from hand to face. I moved away, but I was still struck, and I had a serious injury to my face. It kept me out of cricket for 2 years. Um, Trying to get blood clots out of my face, out of my eyes. But during that time, after the swelling and everything subsided, within a year, I just couldn't stay home again from sport. So I went back on the track, on the field playing basketball because I was a basketballer before cricket. I
I
went
know you
back.
played that ball as well too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went back playing basketball, and then while one evening when I was on the basketball field, I saw some guys and girls throwing javelin, and I took an interest. I found it looked something like me. I went across. I spoke to somebody, introduced me to Kenny Bermudez. I spoke to him. Kenny turned me on to Kurt, and the rest is history. I started training after until I became a javelin thrower. Ended up with the national record. I broke the national record after 16 years. And I continued, and it became one of my first love also.
But you still continued playing cricket.
Oh, yes. After that, I went back into cricket after 2 years, started playing, made the national team, and from there, national team, and onto the West Indies team.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
great. That's great.
So I played in the World Cup in 1997 in India.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's great. Now, from that playing cricket into javelin, that's where your track and field career actually
Yeah.
started, right? What was the first club you after you started? What was the next step?
When I started, I actually had joined back in those days, Trintopec. We had a series, Trintopec,
Yeah.
Petrotrin. So I joined the Trintopec club and continued, and it was fun because it's every weekend. You know, you have cricket on a weekend, you have javelin throws on a weekend, or track and field. So it was a busy period, but it was an enjoyable period for us at that time.
You your background. You came from a sporting family.
Yeah. Um, I had some cousins, they played football. We had a only female basketball team playing in a men's league in Superior back in those days.
Okay.
That was the topic in Superior back in those days, because we had this team and we only played in the San Fernando League, and we wanted other things to do, not just play in one league.
Right,
And we decided, Superior always have basketball, and we decided we would join the men's league. And they were like, the ladies want to play, and we were like, yeah, we serious, and we played. So Superior was a buzz when the ladies were playing, because everybody just wanted to see us beat one of these men.
team.
Yeah, but it was real fun. Those guys, till this day, they still talk about that.
So when did you give up cricket completely and put your whole life into the javelin, sport of javelin? And was it a hard decision to make, stop playing cricket?
Yes, it was. And I'll tell you, I don't know if you remember, there was a standoff between the women cricketers and the board at one time.
Yes.
In Trinidad.
Yes, yeah. You was responsible for that?
Well, I was blamed there, I'm being honest, and truth be told, I was called one day and I was told, Gwen, what's happening? At that time, they had dropped Caroline James off the team. She was one of our best, right? They dropped her off the team, and some of the players were not pleased because it was personalities that was clashing. But you can't mix the personality with the sport. You could not like somebody, but if they're a good player, they play cricket, you know. And we had national trials coming up. And they asked me if I'm for that, and I was like, yeah, once it's to support women's cricket, I would. And we had a coup, as they said. The 24 that was called to national trials, 24, 30 of us or something like that. And 18 people did not take the field. And it just snowballed into all these interviews with the media, why, when, how. And we explained everything to the media. Back in those days, the evening news, everybody just calling. And it so happened that I was the spokesperson. So I end up being blamed for calling a coup on women's cricket. But actually, it didn't start off with me. I just turned out to be the spokesperson for that. And I explained things to the media as it was. And we were blacklisted. Those days we worked in the Oval when they had international cricket. We worked. We were blacklisted from working there too.
Who was the president at that time?
In the women's. Aloy Liquid was the president, right?
Yes, Mr. Liquid.
But actually he was bombarded. At the time the men weren't that involved. They were there, but they weren't that involved. And the person who was the president of the women's cricket, that person held all the position as far as we considered at that time. They were selector, captain, it was everything. So her having personal issues with other people, it transcended into the team. Because if I don't like you, I can show you I have the power to take you off the team. And we all knew that, but women were afraid to talk about it because they always felt, I will get thrown off the team. But sometimes you have to take the bull by the horn. You have to be the bad person.
You know what you're talking about is still happening in sports today.
It's happening in sports still. You have to be the bad person and you have to put your foot down. And we decided we're not going to play. And they started calling players who have not played cricket in years, just to make sure they had to show us that
they have a team.
They have a team. And we remember players from Tobago said they called them and they just put them on the national team. And if you realize, till this day, and people may not admit that, Trinidad have not been the force that we were with and that we had back in the days. And until this day, when it breaks my heart to see teams beat us in some horrible ways. And every time I look at it, and I and the other older players will be like, this could have never happened
In
to
your days,
us.
yeah.
Because we dominated the Caribbean for over 15 plus years. We dominated the Caribbean. We had 9 players making the West Indies team, you know. Why are you saying that now?
Yeah.
It's not happening. Something is still going on in women's cricket that we need to fix. But people are afraid to talk because it's always this personal thing about, I would not be on the team again. But sometimes you have to think team and not think that I. It's not the I all the time because you're on a team. So you have to forget the I sometime. Just do what you have to do, say what you have to say, and get the job done. And I would hope that the younger players now are really brave enough to say, we don't like what's happening, and we need this fixed.
You know, I like how you bring that up, you know, because that is something that's definitely happening
in all the sports.
In all sports, not
all the sports in Trinidad.
I like how you bring it up there, and a lot of them don't like to talk. You understand? They don't like to talk.
Would you believe some years after, right? I was called by some young players and asking me if I would help them take a stand.
Yeah.
And I was like, you all need to do this for yourselves. I said, because I'm not there. I'm just like from the outside looking in. I can't really help. I may be able to advise you on something, but I can't help. I'm not in it. I'm not in the sport.
Right.
So how could I just go helping? They have to learn to stand on their own.
Yeah, okay. Well, what was a loss for cricket was a big gain for the Track and Field Association, because then you came into to track and field. So let's talk about your introduction to track and field, throwing the javelin. How, you know, what it was like, you know?
Throwing the javelin is basically an action almost like the bowling action, and I was a fast bowler.
So it was easy for you?
So the transition was easy because it's almost the same approach. And when I first started, everybody was like, she has a really fast arm, but I didn't understand the fast arm theory at the time. Not knowing that we bowlers, fast bowlers, could actually throw the javelin very well.
Right.
So the transition for me was easy, and that is why probably I came in and did not take long to establish myself into the sport, because we had everybody else there. We had Marsha Mark, we had Geraldine George, we had other girls there who were, they came up from the Carifta level and this level and the CAC and the NACA.
You came
and I just came in as a cricketer because from first people were like, I know at the time they saw me as I may not be able to beat them at the time. But me being that confident in my sport, I knew I could have done it, and I proved myself.
Right. So as you go along, you know, you at that time you had Southern Games, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that was one of your first major competition locally, right? So let's talk about competition locally before we go abroad.
Locally, we had Petrotrin Games, Paliseco, and we had Southern Games, and was in the Petrotrin Games in 99 or somewhere about. I broke the national record, you know, and ended up 10th in the NACAC region. Which was really good with 48.76 or something, 46 or 48.76.
Right.
And at the time, the record was 44.75 or something like that. And I broke the record 3 or 4 times in the games, one after the other.
Okay.
So it was really something. It was really something for me, a level of excitement that was so different because I'm a cricketer. I broke a national record, and you know,
and
I was standing.
And you beat all those who
who were there,
and came up through the.
So it was really, it's something I will never forget. It was really something for me because it was there and they didn't break it.
Right.
You know, and I just came in as a cricketer and trained and broke the record.
So when did you make your first national team? And what games you went to?
After a while, I went back fully into cricket.
Okay.
Yeah. And was not into the track and field as much.
Right.
And then I went, after that I went into Masters Street. Yeah, and started to compete for Masters.
Okay. So what motivates you?
What motivates me is staying fit and trying to stay as healthy as I can.
Yeah.
So the backdrop to that is, if I have something to do or to look forward to, like competition internationally or locally, it drives me to keep training over and over and over. And people are always like, you're always with a bag on your back, but that's me.
Yeah. So
I'm always with my bag on my back, my gears are in there. So wherever I go, I come straight from there and straight into training. Whether I go to work, wherever. I just come from wherever and head straight to training, morning or evening. That's my motivation, because at my age, I need to stay fit and healthy.
You said something there I want to go back to. You said that you left throwing the javelin and went back into cricket.
Yeah.
So you didn't spend that length of time competing outside of Masters?
No. I competed for quite a number of years, you know. But remember, cricket is my first love.
Okay.
So I played, but I gave less time into the track and field, and more time into playing the cricket until. So
that is when you went to the West Indies teams to the World Cup.
Yeah.
How was that experience for you all?
It was an experience that will never leave my head because of what India is and the experience with having about 30,000 people in a stadium where you cannot even hear your other player on the field because the crowd roaring. It was the most amazing thing in my life. Playing before such big crowd and hearing people chanting in him because you're a good fast bowler, you know.
Right. And how was it? How far did you all reach in that competition?
We placed 8th or 7th or somewhere there. Some people found it difficult in the cold.
Okay.
It was difficult for a lot of the players in the cold because when we get on the field on mornings, we couldn't see each other, you know. We were talking on the field, but it was so misty. It was so foggy, we couldn't see each other until the sun really come out. But we had to do it. We had to go out in the cold. We had to do it because we have competition.
Well, I know we have to take a break in a couple of minutes. When we come back, we will chat about your master's journey, you know, because I know that you have kept up that reputation of winning medals, gold medals, silver medals, at all the tournaments that you have entered so far. So we will talk a bit about that when we get back. Viewers, we'll be right back after the short break.
Hi, I am Nigel Coutier.
Hi, and I'm Jovan Paulette.
We are coming to a community near you. We're going to speak community talk. We want to hear your issues, your concerns, or what will improve your community.
Look out for us. We'll be coming soon, Nigel and myself, to your community to hear in whatever way we can do to improve your environment, be it employment, infrastructure, anything to improve your living as well as our own.
Community talk coming soon.
I'm Steve David, and I'm your host. Today I talk football as usual, and I have with me Linda Bramble, welcome to the set, Michael Ragunac, welcome to the set. Instead, George Jefferson, George Anthony Clark, welcome to the set. That's Dwight DeLeon. The president of the SSFL, Mariri Gonzalez. Mariri, welcome to the set. Leroy DeLeon, welcome to the set, Leroy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning in every Tuesday night, and NCBNTT, thanks for the opportunity.
For those of you who are now joining us, this is Saturday Sports here on NCBN Television, and I'm talking with Gwendolyn Smith. Now, Gwendolyn Smith is the Vice President of the Trinidad and Tobago Masters Athletics Association, and she's also an active athlete, still winning medals and still beating some of the younger competitors locally. That's something we need to talk about. She's a Masters and still beating the younger ones. So is it something that she's doing right and they are doing wrong? We're going to find out. And we're still beating a lot of them girls. Because I know you don't always enter Masters alone. Any tournament you enter in,
the open.
you open and you're beating them. Is it something you are doing right and they are doing wrong?
I would
Because I mean, yes, you could beat them.
Yeah.
But
they are supposed to.
They're supposed to be challenging
by the laws of nature.
Yeah, by the laws of nature, they're supposed to beat you.
Yeah. What has happened and what I've realized is that they don't treat field events well. So the younger girls come in, and when they start, they realize that field events is treated like the outside baby. So some stay, some go. We have to, as a body in Trinidad running sport, we have to be honest about how we do things. I'm not saying they are not trying, I'm not saying they are not doing things, but if they take a deeper look into how things going, I should not be beating those younger girls. Right? I should be competing at my level and beating people my age. But the encouragement for the younger female athletes is not there. So some of them just find a way to either go out of the sport or just do what they do. And if you look at it, sport for female right now is dwindling. We're not encouraging young women to actually come out. Now with the I Choose Sport, I believe it may make a difference, or it should make a difference.
Not continuing, but you're actually doing some work with the primary schools too, right?
Yeah. And one of the secondary schools within the area.
Okay.
We have to get serious. And when I say we have to get serious, if we run in sport, we must run sport as a business.
Definitely.
We can't run sport for friends or who we like, who we don't like.
And for who getting free plane, right?
Nepotism.
And who getting free plane
who
ride.
Getting plane ride, whatever. We have to be open and honest as to what's happening. Look at the stadium when we have sport. What are we doing? Why aren't we marketing sport in Trinidad as a real business? Where if I know businessmen in Trinidad only support some things or some sport when there's a winner, when somebody wins gold, when a team wins something. A lot of business not interested in supporting sport. But we have the banks who are willing. We have certain people who are there for years supporting it. What are we doing with our marketing to market our sport, to encourage people to come out and support, to encourage the families of these same children to be out there to also help you sell it as a business? If we start thinking business-wise and seriously thinking business-wise, we are going to market our sport differently. And we have to be honest about that.
We have better facilities than Jamaica.
Yeah.
Yet still Jamaica primary school sports,
it's filled to capacity.
They have to lock the gate.
They have to lock,
Right.
Yeah.
Our senior champs, if we have 500 people,
we have plenty.
And out of the 500, 300 is family and things like that. So as you rightfully said, we are not marketing the sports properly. All we're concerned about is when someone comes back with a gold medal or silver medal, we have a big celebration at the airport, right? And we have them parade the street for 2 or 3 days. And at the end of the day, that is it. So how do you see that change coming?
The change is going to come when we start getting serious. The change is going to come when we have fresh ideas, when we have a fresh breed of people thinking sport, not thinking self, thinking sport, want to see the sport reach where Jamaica reached, want to see our young athletes benefit from the sport, want to see our young athletes wanting to stay in the sport. Those changes are going to come when people within the governing bodies could stand up and say, this is not happening the way it should be, or this is not right. We can't want to please everybody. And as I said before, sometimes you have to be the bad person.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when you are the bad person, you can see changes. You can't have people in sport. I know, you know, I was in the cricket board. You remember I was on the women's cricket board.
Yeah.
You can't have people saying they love in the sport, but undermining the happenings of the sport. We can't undermine each other and want the sport to grow.
Right.
We have to be on the same page. We have to be on the same level. We have to agree to disagree, but for the betterment of the sport. If we don't get there, we're going to be in a whirlwind, in a revolving door, with the same set of people fighting each other to get in and out. This set getting this time, the other set out. The other set getting the next time, and where the changes in the faces. I'm talking about the key roles. What are the new ideas? What are the fresh ideas to move the sport forward? For me, I have a vision for Masters.
Yeah.
And anybody could see at this time where Masters is at. If you have a vision and you don't have the support to move the vision forward, you find common ground with the people who have similar vision like you to move the sport forward and to get the job done. You also have to have the support of people getting the job done. I think our biggest problem in sport in Trinidad, and I could say it free, I don't owe anybody anything. Nepotism is killing us.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I'm still waiting to see what is going to happen with the cricket board. And the guy who came out and said how much millions
money
were missing.
Yeah.
And 2 days after,
he was fired.
You fired him.
Yeah.
You understand? So I am still waiting. But you see, I think Trinidad is a country where after 3 days we forget, right? The big episode in Tobago with the guy who took the whole...
The 100 and
right.
how much people out there.
You hear anything about that right
Came
now?
back, one child stayed because his passport
was
left in Tobago. And it's just...
No, you hear nothing about that.
Nope.
Right? The murder they had recently where they found the girl body in the backyard of the house. You hear anything about that?
No.
The SAS with the pastor man who is a spy. Everything is hot topic for 3 days. And after that, we go back to normal living. That is why nothing changes.
We being a small nation, everything is out there, you know. People know, they see, they understand, but everybody fixing themselves.
That is it.
We are so wrapped up in race, religion, and politics that we keep missing the boat. We keep missing saying this wrong. We need to get this done. We need to change this. We just have a bunch of gangs and a bunch of cliques operating in everything.
You could have said it better.
Everything is cliques and gangs, and once it look good for us and our friends and family, we don't care what happen otherwise. But I will always say.
But at the end of the day, who is suffering?
I'm now going to say. I will always say, at the end of the day, the little man who is willing is the one suffering.
Yeah.
The little athlete who came from nowhere and have hopes. This dream that we sell them, because we sell them the dream that, like for me, being a senior person and an athlete, I sell these young people, look, if you really take this serious, you can go somewhere. But after me selling them and they start participating, because I'm promising my young athletes, I have training, I'm doing some work in Mani Ramjan, I'm putting up my own throw area, all of that because I want to see something happen. I am coming out the sport in terms of being the age person, but what I want to see is what's going to happen with the next generation in the sport. How are we going to fulfill the dreams of these young people? It have young people, I still beg, please come back, because they were good athletes. But some of them, miss, I have to work too hard and then still have to come and fight up and then still fight if I have to go, if I make a team. And every time they think about the word fight up,
yeah, it turns them off.
Turns them off. And the people that be and the ones in power don't question these young athletes, you know. Like how I would sit and have a rapport and find out what's going on with you and what is the help you have and why you so discouraged. Well, at my age, they can't discourage me anymore. I do what I think is best for me, right? But when I start talking to them, it really breaks my heart because nobody actually from the administrative side actually sit and have conversations with these young athletes to find out what's really going on in their heads. What is the mindset? Where they at this time? Nobody doing that. Once they make a team and I get right on that plane.
Yeah, that's it.
Who talking to these young athletes? Most of the time I go into the stadium, I have conversations because I want to know what's going on. I want to know why you're not improving or why you're seeing you throwing the same distance all the time. That's me. I keep conversations. Who else doing it? I think most of the older, let me say the olders, they call us older.
Yeah.
We are the ones doing that. We are the ones going out there and working with young athletes in school, giving our time, working with older people because we want to see something happening in the nation. Who else doing that? Who else in the sport, and in any sport I'm talking about, actually on the ground? You know, I go into schools and do motivational, trying to change the minds of the young people to get them involved.
Yeah.
How many of us really doing that? I barely have time, you know, because I'm always out there doing something different.
Yeah.
Who else doing that to actually see the changes for our society?
And we wonder why our young people are so helter-skelter all over the world, all over the place.
The minister have this drive, and I think that is what encourages me with Minister Shamfa Kojo Lewis. To me, what I see in her is this drive. She didn't come from sport.
Yeah.
And I think she made a mistake saying she didn't come from sport.
Yes.
The first time, because everybody held her to that. But her drive to see sport change and to become different, her drive, if she have all the people behind her and really working with her, we're going to see some changes. That's my honest opinion about her.
Well, I think that from what I'm seeing is that she looks like, you know, she's doing things. I'm really seeing a difference in the minister and how she's operating, and she's trying her best to really get sports on a different footing, right? And from a person who said that they were never in sports, I think she's doing her best.
She is.
Right? I think she's doing her best. There are those who will criticize her, but in everything in Trinidad, we like to criticize. Right?
But never find a solution.
We never find a solution. Yeah. Right? And I must, you know, say, you know, kudos to you for what, you know, you are doing, because I think if we have more people like you going around the communities and doing what we're doing, you know, we wouldn't have this such a young people, that's all over the place. Yes, we can't save everybody, right? But we can minimize it, to a point where, and we can discover, athletes. Another thing that I look at is that athletes come from the rural areas. What do we do for the rural areas? How do we get these young people, from Miaro? They want them to come down to Salvador to train. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
I think I saw in the ITU Sports there's this rural area base, and I think that is what she started targeting, the rural areas, the hotspot areas.
That's what you have to do.
Because
they were saying the devil finds
work for idle hands,
and that's what's happening.
Yeah, I'm seeing so much things we could talk about. I'm seeing so much things happening. We have to fix not just sport. We have to fix this place. My passion is to see change. We have to fix this place with everybody involved. We have politicians who are not supporting things because it's not us and we didn't have the idea. We can't bring about change in a society unless we are on the same page to see it work. I have heard people through the years say, they don't look like me, I am not interested, I don't care, it's not my family. If we keep thinking like that, we staying in this abyss that we're in right now. And what is amazing to me is when people say, how did we get here?
Yeah, like it's something that's happened overnight.
It's not something that happened overnight. We're not supporting each other at all. Let's not fool ourselves. We're not supporting each other. We're not supporting because it's not my people or me, or it doesn't affect me. And if we continue like that, we're not moving. That's why we're in a cyclone. We're in a cycle.
We just,
and we just turning.
Spinning top in mud.
And putting plaster on sores. Because the real support is country, Every individual has a role to play. And if we choose not to take up our roles, see things happening and try to make a difference, we're going to stay in this cycle, this whirlwind of nonsense that we created, all of us, and keep pointing fingers. It's this one, and it's that one, and it's only African in jail. And it's we love this nonsense.
But it's only when you go into jail that you realize how much different races they have inside the jail. But I know we have to take a break shortly. When we come back, we're going to spend the next segment on talking about the great work that the Masters Association have done, the changes that have taken place, that have you all now sitting in a comfortable position, right? And maybe some of the other organizations could take some example from you all. Viewers will be right back after this short break.
Hi, I am Nigel. Quote Me Today is your daily motivational segment to start your day right. Join me Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. right here on NCBN. Remember, wake up with a smile. Today is your day. That's why when we festin', we just bed God when we jammin', we just jam down when we drinking, man it's strong rum, pop a bottle right now when we festin', we just bed God when we jammin', we just jam down when we drinking, man it's strong rum, pop a bottle, push up your hand.
Lego Heritage, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on NCBNTT Television Network.
Change Talk TV, tell us our boy better stay calm, be cool.
Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to Saturday Sports, when we have spoken a lot about your career, you know, about what's happening with the sport and kind of thing. Now we want to spend this time to talk about the good works and the drastic change that has come across the Masters. And I know you, being the VP, you know, had a lot, you know, I know you have a committee, but I know that you had a lot to input into the whole change. So can you tell us a bit about what's happening with
Masters.
the Masters?
Competing outside and always having this, sometimes days before, don't know how the rest of the funding will go, how you're going. It was always like a level of frustration because you know you're going out there to do something. You want to be your best. You don't want to be fighting up with how I getting the money. 2-3 days, you don't know how things happening. And I've been sharing ideas with the different presidents. Let's do this, let's do that. But what I realize is that people were not brave enough. They saying yeah, but they always saying to me after, and you know the District Masters, you know, and I'm like, we need to go brave.
Yeah.
We need to sell this. Let's sell this product. And one day I was talking to my coach and I said, we have things to do in Masters, but we're not brave enough to sell it. And I was called by someone in Europe asking me if I wanted to run for a position in WAMA, the World Governing Body. And I was like, if somebody on the outside, because that was the president of the European Association, if he could have that level of confidence in me, asking me to try and run for a position in the World Governing Body, it was still a shock. And I was like, why we can't get it right here if on the outside people think you have the potential to, because we always had conversation and I always saying to him, you know, the World Governing Body could do this and could do that. Because I am always, for me, I live seeing a bigger picture all the time. That's just me. I have a level of confidence that everything could always be better. And after I came off the phone, I called 3 people and said, you know what just happened to me? And I told them what happened. And I even called the president of the association at that time. And he just said, keep that close to your chest and don't tell anybody yet. And I started to ask the president of the European Association at the time, am I going to get the support? I'm a little black girl, just as how I'm putting it. I'm a little black girl from the Caribbean. And the European bloc is so big.
Yeah.
How could I win these people over? Because he said to me, you could win the Caribbean, the NACAC region. He said, because all we have to do is talk to them. They know you from the region. But there's so much happening, so much in my head, because I'm the unknown going to try to run for a position in a world governing body. I started thinking, we started to have regular conversation. Then he put me on to the president of the NACAC region, Guillermo. Guillermo and I had meetings telling me to do certain things and they would support. He even promised to support if I host something here.
Right.
The region will help. But that is, all of those things is to get me on a footing where they will see, okay, she's working within the region and whatever. Yeah. So I was like, I think I could do this, you know. I started to see myself as, so then I had to email the secretary of the WAMA body, the World Governing Body, to tell them of my interests. I did. And we started moving along to see, he started linking me with people from other, he said, you need to talk to this one, you need to pull some people from the Caribbean a little more, talk to them, encourage them. Started to work on it. And I say, you know what, you're accustomed talking, you're accustomed letting people know what ideas you have in your head. This will not be new for you, you know. It's just because you'll be dealing with different people. Now, I know personally how that block is set up. To win Europe, you have to have backings from Europe. And the European bloc kind of, as you should say, also cliquish. Is if you have the same language like me and that kind of thing. So everywhere you find this. And the reason why I end up not doing it was because the gentleman that came to run for the same position I wanted to run for was the position that Brian Keaveney had, which is the sport director in the body kind of thing.
Okay.
The man that came in from Europe, he was a well-known person. And I didn't see them in Europe voting for me.
Over him?
Over him. And that is when I told him. We had a conversation. We spoke about it, and he said, yes, he's a well-known guy. He said, and it really will be a fight. And then I say, I'm not going to fight for something that I would not win.
That's wasted energy.
Wasting all my energy, wasting all my time, and talking to brick walls, because no matter how I talk to them, they will just shake their heads. But they wouldn't take me on, I know. So I just, and ended up, I was on the master's executive, and me being me, I saw things not going the way I think the association would have been running, and I coolly resigned the position. Because if I'm in something, I want it to work and I want to see progress. And I'm not going to be in something that's not progressing. And no movements whatsoever. I couldn't handle it. And I just coolly sent in my resignation. And this new executive now, people were calling me, please, run for the president post, go ahead. And I was like, no, we have somebody there already as vice president. If it's anything, I don't mind working in a position, because he would need the support, but I would not go to look like I'm fighting him for the position. And then when we were there, they voted me for vice president. And I accepted the position, and we worked together as a unit, I have never seen this. It's like we just gelled and started to share ideas and was like, this is what. We literally, twisted people's hands in the world governing body to get certain things to the ministry that they never did before. I can show you emails upon emails. I'm messaging the president of the world governing body, Margaret Truman, and she was like, take this email, take this number, talk to the secretary. I emailed the secretary. I said, look, I'm on the executive of the Trinidad and Tobago Masters Association. We are moving forward. But without your help and your letters, we cannot do what we want to do. And what we want to do is to be able to compete comfortably in the World Championship. I say, if we do not have your support, we're not going to get this done. He emailed me back. He said he understand. I got the first letter because those letters had to go into the ministry because we just, let's get this working.
Yeah,
let's get this.
Time.
People denied us, you know. People denied us and say, are they just going to waste all your time? Because they didn't believe. Imagine you running a body and don't believe that we could get that kind of help. And I'm like, we doing this, you know. I saw the message in the background and say, I don't care what they say. We doing this. Those letters need to go out within the next 2 weeks. We need to get the help, and this have to be done. Letters went out. Same people said, this is not going to happen for us. 2 weeks' time, the ministry responded, you know. 2 weeks, you know. Could you all send this? Could you all send that? When we saw the list of things, they were like, Gwen, how we getting this from Wama? I said, don't worry. Because I'm on there's a world group. So I'm on it. I had personally spoken to the president of the governing body, which is Margaret Juman. So
they were aware of what you all were doing?
Not at that time.
Okay.
But I had to message her. I called the president of the European Association. Well, he's now ex-president. I say, could I get a number for Margaret Juman, please? Because they all Juman together. And he said, I'll send it to you. And I messaged her. She responded in a day or two. And we started moving from there. And then we went and we got these letters. And then when I saw the letter and I sent it in the chat, I just screened and I sent it in the executive chat. And they were like, who hand you twist? And I said, don't worry, we'll get this done. We were confident. We knew what we were about because we all had the same. That's why I say for something to work, you have to be on the same level.
Yeah.
You have to be pushing the same head. You have to want it really bad. We got the letter. Ministry responding in another letter. Oh my goodness. I say, I have to go back to these people. They say we need it. Started messaging the secretary again from the world governing body. No response. Message back the president. I say I'm not getting on to him. He messaged me. He said, I'm not in the country. I'm checking with the in the US. He said I'm in the US right now because the US is going to host the 2024 Indoor Championship. He said, when I get back, I'm going to get it done for you. He really got back. He sent the other letter. Went back in the ministry again. And the ministry started liaising with us, and we started. Everything now is inside. And we were just waiting.
So it's just a matter of time before the Masters hold a world event in Trinidad? Or something Caribbean-wise or something?
We were asked to know. We were asked to run.
Well, that'll be nice, eh? That'll be nice.
2025. Now people seeing, and we were approached by somebody to host the 2025 because the Caribbean thing that I told you, Guillermo, the president of NACAC, told me about. Try and run the Caribbean Games because I will prove that year.
Yeah.
Right. When I went to a certain person with that, it was totally stumped down. It's like, what are you trying to do? You know how we operate in this society. Yeah. When you're a small fry, people don't see you doing certain things or knowing certain people. And I'm just laughing because I'm like, if you all don't even know who I know. You know, this kind of way.
Exactly.
And it so happened that last year, the same thing that I went to and saying for us to host, and it was turned down. Somebody, strange enough,
company idea,
sent a message on Facebook for me and saying they want to get on to people on the executive, and I was like, who is this? And then I gave some information. The person, we had a meeting, and the president had a meeting with the people, and they asked us if we could host 2025.
So that's
games in 2025.
So that's in the
well,
stages, or
we kind of not sure, because it's going to take a lot to get that done, and we just looking. But you have to have your dream. You have to sell your dream. You have to work on that dream that you're selling in order to make forward movement. And now the association is in a position where we got our money from government.
Right.
We ran 3 developmental successful meets.
Not like before when I used to come to cover masters.
No.
They say 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock masters they start yet.
No. We serious.
Right, yeah.
And you can't sell something if it's half-heartedly.
Yes.
You have to sell it from the heart. You have to know. You have to let people know you want this, and this will work, and make them see that it is going to work. And we have run it, all 3. Our championship is the last thing to come up. It will also be successful because we're putting in the work. We're putting in the work.
When I know we ran out of time, but I really want to say thank you very much for coming. I want to also extend on maybe my behalf congratulations to you and your executive, because what you are telling me here now is a far cry from what I know as masters in years gone by when I used to come to cover all the event in Hazy Crawford Stadium. Because I had given up sometimes because of the late start and everything, but I really, really, want to say, kudos to you all for what you all are doing. Before we close, is there anything that you would like to, any closing comments?
Yes. I want to invite Trinidad and Tobago to come on down to the Hazy Crawford Stadium on the 9th of June at 3 p.m. to support our local masters who are vying to go to the World Championship in Gothenburg, Sweden from August 13th to the 25th. Come and support us. Come and see our talented masters in Trinidad here. Come see us compete. Come and see Gwen Smith, who you all just see sometimes on the TV or hear about. Come and see me actually competing. I'm encouraging family, friends, neighbors, co-workers, everybody to come on down and see us. See what we're going to take to the world when we leave the shores of Trinidad and Tobago. And know that we have every age group in Trinidad. We have 2 of the 80-year-olds already qualified, Mr. Rogers and Mr. Stevenson. Come and see us and see what we offer. We're not offering a joke. We're not offering games. We're offering the real thing. Our masters are well known abroad, and we want it to be the same way in Trinidad and Tobago.
I know one thing I must say before I end. When we talk masters, this is not a bunch of old people that's going around it. These are former Olympians, former international athletes. So it's like an Olympic games you're going to. And most of the time when Trinidad go and they come back, we do come back with gold, silver, and bronze. We don't let's come back with bronze medal or silver. We come back with gold, silver, and bronze. So please go out and support, and I'm sure that you're going to be seeing much more about the masters on NCBN now that we have come back in touch with each other. So viewers, I want to take this opportunity, first of all, to thank my guest, Gwendolyn Smith, and also you, the viewers, for spending this time with us. We hope that you enjoyed this segment. Look for us next week, Saturday, 8 p.m. right here on NCBNTT television. We're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Stay tuned. Have a blessed week ahead.